Now, we have reports that the U.S. Senate is moving toward a consequential vote testing Donald Trump's decision to take the United States into an open war with Iran, and the conflict has expanded rapidly across West Asia with no clearly defined American exit strategy. For more on this, from Washington, D.C., we are being joined by Reza Khanzadeh. He's a West Asia analyst. Reza, welcome to WION.
Thanks for having me.
Reza, Hezbollah says it clashed with Israeli forces near southern Lebanon and fired rockets toward northern Israel, raising fears of a second front opening in the conflict. So the northern border has long been volatile. We know that. How do you see this parallel war in Lebanon as Israel and Hezbollah are exchanging fire?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the strategy Israel has was to pull in Hezbollah all along. Obviously, they wanted to drag the United States into this war against Iran, but they were also placing their bets that once that war started, then they would have Hezbollah to also deal with, and that would give them an open-ended, conflict against Hezbollah, to where they could essentially take the same strategy, the same military strategy that they took against Hamas. They could now take that against Hezbollah. And we've seen top officials within the Israeli government state that even if the conflict with Iran were to end today, the conflict with Hezbollah will continue until they feel that they have decimated Hezbollah the same way they have with Hamas. And that could be a conflict that could last for years, just like it did in Gaza.
Yes, Reza, now we also know that U.S. lawmakers will soon vote on a war powers resolution that would require congressional approval before further strikes. So this vote, of course, comes after the president entered the war without their approval. So how much of this pushback is actual resistance, and how much are lawmakers trying to put a marker down for history?
Yeah, I think the latter of your point is more accurate. This is more of a marker to put down for history, because the latest reports I've been following on Capitol Hill is that this could barely pass, but it probably won't. And even if it does, Trump can veto it. So really, it's the Democratic Party's chance to speak out against this conflict, and then also to place the vote, because in November we'll have midterm elections in the United States, and then that's when those that are campaigning can then point out to those politicians that are running for re-election and state, you voted against this, you supported this war, and look at what it's doing to our taxpayers, look at what it's doing to our budget. So this is more of a domestic move within the United States rather than trying to really end this conflict.
Yes, I hear you. And we also know that Republicans currently hold the numbers to block this resolution. So are you seeing any real signs of cracks within the party, especially as the war stretches on?
Within which party? The Republican Party?
Yes.
Yeah, there are some cracks, but those cracks have, been there well before Trump started his second term, and it's not the kind of cracks where you would see some real division, some real 180 turns, so to speak, from a certain number of politicians. Because at the end of the day, all these politicians are beholden to their constituents, and while certain politicians might be against this war, might be against the policies that President Trump has enacted, whether it's domestic or otherwise. Their constituents, those that are voting for their reelection, more or less support Trump. They support what he's doing. The latest polls, even though I don't really trust polls too much, but just for the sake of argument, the latest polls in the United States showed that from the Republican voting base, 55% support what Trump is doing in support of Israel in these attacks against Iran. So even with the cracks within the political party of Trump's party, I don't see it being anything worth concern.
So if we look into West Asia, again, analysts say that Hezbollah does not act in isolation, and its moves are often read as part of a wider regional design. So what are your views on this? To what extent could this be coordinated with Iran's broader strategy?
Yeah, I think historically that would be a correct assessment, where they would be, Hezbollah would be working with the Islamic Republic. There would be broader coordination and more specific types of communication. But given with the assassination of Hassan Soleimani back in 2019, 2020, and then with the June 12-day war, and then now with this conflict, we've even seen this not even with Hezbollah, but even with the IRGC within Iran. The central command of the IRGC has essentially decentralized its commanders to where all the different branches of the IRGC in the different provinces, I think the 31 provinces of Iran, it's all been decentralized now to where they have allowed the leaders and commanders of each branch within those different provinces to be in charge of their department, of their branch. So that way they don't have to get permission from Tehran or Central Command in the IRGC if they want to attack a certain location, or if they want to arrest certain individuals. And we've actually seen this too with what your report showed earlier in the program, where there was an attack on Cyprus. There are some reports within Iran that attack came from one of those decentralized locations within Iran. So it wasn't something that came with the approval of the central command of the IRGC. So if we look at that on a domestic scale, but then we broaden it out to Hezbollah, that's also in the same scope, where it is decentralized, and Hezbollah essentially now is working on its own. It is making its own decisions on where to attack, when to attack, and how to attack, without necessarily needing permission from the Islamic Republic, considering that the regime right now, the Iranian regime, is under such strong attack that it just can't answer all the questions. It can't give the okay for every single type of attack that someone within the regime wants to make. So that's why it's been decentralized at this point.
You're right, Reza. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making time for us. We'll get back to you soon.
Thank you very much.